Right now, an investigation is underway in Appleton after a firefighter is shot and killed. How local departments are taking the news.
And a recap of Vice President Mike Pence's trip to Wisconsin today, making a pair of stops in the western part of the state.
Plus, circulating a petition, a Madison man's attempt to delay a major West Side construction project.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 10.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Wisconsin emergency workers are mourning the loss of an Appleton firefighter tonight. The department says firefighter Mitchell Lungard died after he was shot last night while responding to a medical emergency call. Lungard was married, the father of 3 children. Fire crews say a 47-year-old man believed to be from the Wausau area was arriving on a bus at the Valley Transit Center in downtown Appleton and needed medical attention. After crews arrived to help, the man got off the bus, and that's when the situation escalated.
At some point, the male displayed a handgun, and shots were exchanged between him and our officers. A female bystander who is not yet identified was struck with gunfire and is in stable condition. One of our officers suffered a gunshot wound. He was released from the hospital earlier today.
The gunman died from his injuries. A procession was held this morning for firefighter Lungard from Milwaukee, some 120 miles up the interstate to Appleton. The case has been handed over now to the Green Bay Police Department.
Emergency responders across the state are sharing their support after Lungard's death. Our Madeline O'Neill can tell us what area departments are doing in what one fire chief calls a changing landscape for responders.
Well, we often hear emergency responders refer to themselves as a family. That's true here in Wisconsin, where all fire departments are mourning the loss of a brother. But the Fitchburg fire chief hopes Mitchell Lungard's death won't be in vain.
We really feel a sense of remorse because of the fact that it could have happened to any one of us.
Here in this Fitchburg firehouse, thoughts keep returning to Appleton.
His family, his fellow firefighters, his community.
To firefighter Mitchell Lungard, killed in the line of duty.
Every one of our firefighters, any paramedic, any EMT, feels as if their work environment is changing.
Fitchburg Fire Chief Joe Pulvermacher calls it a new normal in his field.
At no point in time should we consider that any of our scenes are safe.
He says Lungard's death allows his department to take a step back and evaluate how it responds.
We know that we continually have to be conscientious of the things that are happening around us, and sometimes the unpredictable happens.
Pulvermacher thinks other departments will need to adapt too.
The fire service will learn from this event, and we will become better as a result of it.
First, he knows Appleton has to heal.
This is something that will require a global effort.
Departments from across the state are sharing their support online and beyond.
I just can't emphasize enough the outpouring of support from all across the Fox cities as well as all across the state.
We take care of each other. We try to take care of each other. And this is a situation where that has to happen, and it will continue to happen.
To help Appleton get back to its new normal.
But they'll never be able to forget.
Madison Fire Chief Stephen Davis tells me he's in Appleton assisting Fire Chief Jeremy Hansen, and we'll have more information on how to make donation in Lungard's honor on our website.
Maddie, thank you.
You're welcome.
The weather has also been a big story today, and it will continue to be into the weekend. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti with our first alert forecast. Gary?
Eric, we had a round of thunderstorms this morning, and we're waiting for the second batch to develop this evening. By early evening, nothing had gone on. Watch what happens to our south. Boom, those storms explode across Iowa and northern Illinois, just to our south. So fortunately, those storms didn't fire up until the cold front had passed through southern Wisconsin. The air dried out a little bit, and the focus for strong to severe thunderstorms and heavy rain is just to our south, but we'll stay away at least for the early portion of the evening. In fact, there are some strong to severe thunderstorms, a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings from parts of eastern Iowa into northwestern Illinois, but you can see the general movement to the east-southeast will take the majority of them south of the Wisconsin-Illinois state line. Now, there still is a marginal risk of severe thunderstorms for tomorrow. Hail would be the main threat for an afternoon and evening storm. Saturday, there's also a marginal risk with hail and high winds being the main threat. Should we get a little warmer than forecast, then the risk on Saturday could also go up a bit. Low temperatures this morning started out mild. Most areas were in the 50s. Here in Madison, we didn't drop below 60 degrees. And our high temperature of 77 was late this afternoon once we got some sunshine to the west where the sun was out shining earlier. Temperatures were in the low to mid 80s, and current temperatures are still in the mid 60s to around 70 over much of southern Wisconsin. By tomorrow morning, we'll be in the lower 50s, but look for shower and thunderstorm chances to start increasing early in the day. We'll see them off and on through the day. The high of 58, probably about midday. We'll see steady temperatures in the mid-50s for much of the day. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
Gary, thank you. An attempted child abduction in Lake Delton was stopped after parents heard a noise in their child's bedroom.
And police say the incident happened at 3 a.m. on Saturday in the Deer Run Estates mobile home park. The parents of a 2-year-old heard noise coming from his room. When they went to check on the situation, they found the window open and their child outside. Following interviews with the parents, authorities were led to a suspect who ended up being ruled out.
Yeah, it is. And it happened on a Saturday, you say. And that doesn't surprise me because we have so many people up here from Chicago and Minneapolis and whatever, weekends especially.
Lake Delton police say they don't currently have a suspect. Anyone with information is urged to call the police or Crime Stoppers. Those numbers are on our website, channel3000.com. Wisconsin is one of 5 states suing a manufacturer of a powerful opioid. Today, Attorney General Josh Kaul announced the lawsuit against the OxyContin maker Purdue Pharma. He says the company used deceptive marketing practices leading to the opioid epidemic. It alleges Purdue Pharma downplayed the risks of addiction that come with using OxyContin and seeks damages. This new lawsuit means 45 states have now taken legal action in recent years against the company.
Dane County has purchased 160 acres of property for the Pheasant Branch Conservancy. The land cost nearly $10 million. It's the largest conservation investment for a property in the county's history. Officials estimated damage to the Pheasant Branch corridor reached nearly $2.5 million after the record-breaking flooding last year. Boeing says it has completed a software fix for its troubled 737 MAX jets. The planes were grounded worldwide in March after a pair of deadly crashes. Boeing says it has flown the MAX with the updated software on 207 flights for more than 360 hours and has provided updated training materials for 737 MAX pilots. Authorities in Southern California say an F-16 fighter jet crashed into a warehouse. This is just outside the March Air Reserve Base this evening. The director of public affairs at the base says the pilot ejected before the crash and was not hurt. He also says there were no injuries on the ground either. Officials say the plane was assigned to the Air National Guard.
President Trump announced his administration's immigration reform plan today, which emphasizes new security measures at the border and a shift to a merit-based selection process for legal immigrants. The administration is proposing a points system that gives preference to high-skilled workers. Education, income, and being able to speak English are key criteria. That represents a sharp shift away from family-based policies and a green card lottery currently in place.
To protect benefits for American citizens, immigrants must be financially self-sufficient.
Neither Donald Trump's grandfather nor my father would be able to come to America under this proposal.
The plan does not make efforts to reduce overall immigration rates, nor does it address the estimated 11 million undocumented migrants already in the U.S.
Vice President Mike Pence spent the day in Wisconsin. This morning, he toured J&D Manufacturing in Eau Claire and hosted a roundtable discussion about the U.S.-Mexico trade agreement. Afterwards, he flew to Fort McCoy, where he gave a speech and met with service members and their families. Today's visit marks his first to Wisconsin since he attended a rally last November. A man in Madison is asking the city to address some concerns before a development comes in next door.
And he has a lot of support from his neighbors. Amy Reed shows us what he hopes the city will take into account.
A developer hopes to turn this lot into a space for apartments, townhomes, and single-family homes. But people that live nearby say they have some questions for the city before this development moves any further.
There were just a lot of unanswered questions. I think when we first received the public hearing notices, no one really had any idea what was going on. The information really wasn't readily available to us.
That's when John Kim got to work researching the 202 apartments and family and townhomes that could soon be coming to the empty lot by his house off Raymond and High Point roads. He let his neighbors know on change.org, listing concerns from increased traffic and change of neighborhood culture to what the city plans to do if this area floods again.
I think last summer's rainfall was a really kind of a watershed moment, I guess, poor choice of words, but that was kind of the moment where we realized, yeah, we really do need these egress options.
Last summer, John said he and his neighbors were cut off when this area flooded, preventing anyone, including first responders, from getting here. And if it happens to them, it could happen to new neighbors, too.
If we recognize in the last 3 years that we've had a higher frequency of some of these things happening with the roads flooding, that maybe the risk is heightened and the likelihood that these events come up may increase. And so maybe to take something that we considered less likely a few years ago, to take that with maybe a better sense of urgency now.
John said he doesn't necessarily want the whole project derailed, but he hopes the city will keep listening to his concerns and hopefully get some solutions in place before they have even more people worried.
Any of the safety concerns that we have for this part of the neighborhood, it's only going to apply for all of these new residential owners and the renters that do come in. So we are thinking that ahead of time we're introducing a larger population of people who may be at risk of safety issues that do come up.
John plans to bring his concerns to the Plan Commission hearing on Monday. Then Common Council meets in mid-June, and if all goes well for the developer, this lot will be developed by August. Amy Reed, News 3 Now.
We reached out to the City Plan Commission and the architect for the project for comment, but they did not return our phone calls.
Mr. Showmanship would have celebrated his 100th birthday today. The legendary piano player Liberace was born in West Allis, Madison's Orpheum Theater, among several theaters celebrating his life today. He was once the highest paid entertainer in the world, but always kept connections with the Badger State, often performing around the state when he was not in Las Vegas. Liberace died back in 1987. And one of the most acclaimed architects of the 20th century has passed away. I.M. Pei was born in China. He worked mostly in the United States, but will always be remembered for a project in Paris, his redevelopment of the Louvre. He was 102 years old. Still to come tonight, a $100,000 lottery ticket sold this week in Reedsburg.
Plus, the final major retailer is moving out of Westgate Mall. A look back at the historical impact of this building next. Welcome back. The future of Westgate Mall remains unclear as its last major retailer plans to move out.
TJ Maxx is reportedly moving across the street, leaving only several stores left in the Westgate Mall area. The owners of the mall told us they are exploring options to get the mall under a new contract. The mall was opened back in the 1960s, and since then, one Madison author who has explored its history tells us it is sad to see it today after knowing just how popular it once was.
On March 24th, 1960, there were thousands of cars in this parking lot because there were 20,000 people here braving that cold to shop at the new Westgate Mall. And now on a beautiful spring day, it's empty and we're hearing about its final demise.
Wisconsin Craft Market is the last main store that's visible from the outside. The store owner there said he is not going anywhere.
A $100,000 lottery ticket was sold this week at a grocery store in Reedsburg. According to the Wisconsin Lottery, Viking Village Foods sold the winning ticket for Tuesday's All or Nothing drawing. That's the lottery's newest game. The idea is to either match all of the numbers or none of them. Well, in this case, one player matched none of the numbers, which you see there on the screen.
We are sharing the stories of women you will see in this year's Susan G. Komen More Than Pink Walk all month long in our series, Why We Walk. For this next walker, July 24th is a date she will never forget. That's when Roxy was diagnosed with breast cancer twice, 8 years apart.
I never asked why me. That's kind of not who I am, but it's like, what do I do now?
And now Roxy's made it her mission to debunk common cancer misconceptions in hopes that she'll help save another woman's life. Hear from this two-time survivor tomorrow, only on News 3 Now this morning.
Roxy has a great story. I know that woman, a woman of strength. You want to know her too. Another person you do want to know is Gary Canalti, because you've got all the information for the next
We lucked out
days ahead.
we lucked out tonight in the severe weather department, so I think the severe weather threat is over for tonight, but we may face it over the next couple of days as well as a heavy rain threat. So we have alert days in the forecast for tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. Tomorrow, it looks like the best chances for any stronger thunderstorms will be tomorrow evening, with hail and gusty winds being the main threat. With temperatures staying in the 50s, it's hard for strong winds to work their way down to the ground. But Saturday and Sunday will be warm enough for hail and high winds along with heavy rain to be the threats. Saturday, it looks like in the afternoon and Saturday night as a warm front lifts northward, and then Sunday in the afternoon and evening as a cold front moves across the state. Then that will at least give us a temporary end to the thunderstorm activity. The severe weather reports over the last 24 hours, a couple of them out to our south and to our west. One of them in Blanchardville, another in Platteville, another in Stoddard up near La Crosse. Those are the only ones here, and they were mainly from hail. There was some heavy rain. A band of about an inch of rain fell from around La Crosse through Viroqua, Lone Rock, then down to Monroe. In the Madison area, about a half inch to an inch of rain, and then lesser amounts to the east and parts of the southwestern part of the state. But tonight, everything is really blown up across parts of northern Illinois. In fact, you can see a number of severe thunderstorm warnings from west of the Quad Cities through much of northern Illinois. Even hail showing up here south of I-88. So it's been a rough night, and those storms literally exploded after about 7 o'clock this evening just to our south. And you can see the general movement is to the east-southeast, so that will keep them south of the Wisconsin-Illinois state line. A couple of thunderstorms out here. It's possible we could see an isolated shower or thunderstorm over the next couple of hours in the southern part of our viewing area, but we'll see another round of showers and storms probably by tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, the severe weather threat still remains. There is a marginal risk of severe thunderstorms over southwestern Wisconsin, the higher risk farther out to the west. And then Saturday, that marginal risk continues over much of southern Wisconsin. Again, if that warm front gets a little farther north, if we get a little warmer than forecast, it's possible that slight risk area could be expanded to the north and east. Right now, hail and high winds the main threat. Should we see that warm front stay around the area, it's possible there could also be at least a threat for an isolated tornado. But the heavier rains, that's going to be definitely for everybody, because this is through Monday morning. Computer models showing between about 1.5 inches and 3 inches of rain, and then another round of rain for Tuesday into early Wednesday, showing another inch or so on top of that. So you end up with totals that are somewhere around 4 or 5 inches in some spots. The live view from the Edgewater Skycam tonight, pretty quiet out there. All the thunderstorm activity to our south. High today 77, the low 60, and right now we're sitting at 65 degrees. Forecast for tonight calls for skies to be mostly cloudy. Showers and thunderstorms will develop toward morning with a low temperature of 52. Tomorrow temperatures will stay nearly steady in the mid to upper 50s, the high at 58. Showers and thunderstorms off and on through the day. On future track, you can see the shower and thunderstorm chances starting to arrive tomorrow morning. They off and on through the day tomorrow into tomorrow night. Again, that easterly wind keeps us cool, but then as we head into Saturday, notice the wind shift to the south. Temperatures in the 70s from Madison south, but our northern viewers could stay in the 50s, and that's what could give us that big threat of severe weather. And then, again, those heavy rain potentials through the weekend, about 1 to 3 inches of rain. After that, a dry day on Monday, but guess what? More showers and storms in the forecast Tuesday into at least part of Wednesday, and then toward the end of next week, maybe a little dry weather, a little warm weather, but we'll need the time to dry out, especially if we end up in the 2 to 4 or 5 inch range as far as rain is concerned.
Oh, something we don't want to hear about. No. All right, thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Gary. And the Brewers MVP is, well, playing like an MVP again. We'll have the highlights coming up in sports.
Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals is tomorrow night at Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee. The Bucks and Raptors tip just after 7:30 again tomorrow night. In Game 1 last night, how about 15 points off the bench from Malcolm Brogdon, playing only his second game in 6 weeks. Brogdon and Giannis Antetokounmpo are used to trash talk, growing up with 2 and 4 brothers respectively. The teammates have an ongoing verbal war that includes dunks and everything else, but that's what makes brothers brothers.
No, he didn't say nothing about the dunk because, he can say nothing about me about dunks. It's good to have him back. He makes this team a lot more complete and a lot better.
We come from families where we talk a lot of mess, Whenever he sees me in the facility in the morning, we're always going at it. Everybody knows we're going to start, but it sort of gets us going for the day. So we have a good relationship.
The Brewers head to Atlanta with some momentum as they win their third straight in Philadelphia this afternoon. As usual, the home run ball played a big part, 4-3. Yasmani Grandal breaks things open with his 8th homer this season. That 3-run shot makes it 7-3 Brewers. And Christian Yelich homered in the first, homered again in the 8th. That's now 18 homers on the season for Yelich, who also has 40 runs batted in. Zach Davies goes 6 innings. He's now 5-0. Brewers 11, Phillies 3, and in Cincinnati tonight, Reds 4, Cubs 2. The Badgers softball team is in Norman, Oklahoma to begin the NCAA tournament. The first game is tomorrow night at 6 against Notre Dame. First baseman Kayla Conway is glad to be playing this weekend. She played only 13 games her first 2 seasons at Wisconsin because of 2 shoulder surgeries. This year she played, and she was the Big Ten Player of the Year, hitting .477, 15 homers, 53 runs batted in. Conway admits after last season she wasn't sure she'd ever play softball again, but now every day is a gift.
I just each day I just wake up with such a grateful perspective and heart, and you don't realize what you have until it's gone.
Be her first season that she's really playing for us, all the attention, and for her to just be able to handle it and be so humble and focused. She's a clutch kid.
I thought the big challenge was going to be coming back and not being able to swing as hard or not being able to fulfill my full potential. And with the amazing staff, the coaches, my teammates, everybody's support, it's been absolutely unreal. To be able to feel like I'm almost back to where I was.
Round 1 of the 2019 PGA Championship looks a lot like the 2018 PGA Championship. Last year's winner, Brooks Koepka, shoots 763 to take a 1-shot lead after the first round. Koepka didn't have a bogey on the 7,400-yard Bethpage back course. That's a 1-shot lead over Danny Lee with Tommy Fleetwood in third, 4 back. Phil Mickelson is 1 under. Tiger Woods 2 over. Steve Stricker 3 over. And former Badger Rose Lavelle and the U.S. women's national soccer team have a friendly against New Zealand at Busch Stadium in St. Louis tonight. And how about this? Lavelle gets her 7th goal of her national team career. Final score, USA 5, New Zealand nothing. And we'll be right back.
Well, we missed out on all the severe weather. That's down to our south. Number of severe thunderstorm warnings across northern Illinois, but all that activity is moving away from us. Tomorrow, possibility for some strong to severe thunderstorms. Saturday as well, along with some heavy rain. And then after that, look for more rain in the middle of next week. Temperatures generally at or slightly below normal.
Thanks for joining us.
Do something good, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.